What's up, mech fans, and welcome back to the channel. So, Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuuX has finally premiered on Amazon Prime Video with its very first episode titled The Red Gundam. And on a weekly basis, I'm going to be talking about every single episode where I'm going to break down all the things that happen in the episode and then kind of dive into my spoiler-filled thoughts on things that I want to talk more in depth about. So, of course, today we are starting with episode 1, The Red Gundam. But before I dive into it, I want to hear from you guys, so head on down to the comment section below, and if you've seen this episode, which I hope you have if you're watching this video, because we are going to talk about spoilers, then let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of it. You can talk spoilers, because of course this is a spoiler-filled video, or if you just want to give your kind of brief opinion on it, then feel free to do that as well. And while you're there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of mecha anime content and want to see plenty more videos like this in the future. And like I said, I'm going to be covering this series on a weekly basis, breaking down every single episode as and when it does release. The episode opens in UC 0085, 5 years after the 1 Year War, outside the Side 6 Izuma colony as two civilian Zakus begin to fight in space. Commander Shalia Bull leads a Zeon task force to track down the Red Gundam, which has mysteriously reappeared outside the colony. On Side 6, student Amate Yuzuriha crosses paths with the smuggler Nian and eventually encounters the underground clan battle team, the Pomeranians. Meanwhile, Shalia sends the new GQuuuuuuX mobile suit, piloted by Ensign Xavier Olivet, to capture the Red Gundam. The two Gundams clash inside the colony, drawing the attention of the local military police and resulting in widespread destruction. However, Xavier struggles to activate the GQuuuuuuX's experimental Omega Psychomu system and is forced to abandon the Gundam. Frustrated by the military's abuse of power as they tear up the slums, Amate seizes control of the GQuuuuuuX, and the Omega Psychomu system activates in her presence. After encountering a mysterious phenomenon of light, she disables the military police's mobile suits, and the Red Gundam makes its escape. So that's an overview of how this episode plays out, and diving into my thoughts first of all on the episode, I thought it was a great start to the series. And I think what I like about this as compared to beginning is that we introduce the characters and the world that we're mostly going to be in first of all, rather than doing it as like the second part. I think it worked in beginning to kind of start out where you kind of do it in a bit more of a chronological order, but I think when you're releasing on a weekly basis, it is much better to put your actual characters that you're going to be following throughout most of the series at the forefront in the first episode, and then we take us back in episode 2 to give us that kind of backstory and context to all of the 1 Year War stuff, which if you did see beginning, there's a lot of stuff within that that's probably going to tie into how the plot line will play out within GQuuuuuuX. So I thought it was very well done the way that they decided to do that instead. In fact, I think they probably could have done episode 1, 2, and then do the third episode as the 1 Year War flashback stuff, but at the same time, like, it does kind of make sense because you do need to get that 1 Year War stuff in pretty early on. But again, it does make sense to start the series off this way, and then we go back and look at all the 1 Year War stuff. What I really appreciated about watching this as a TV format as opposed to a movie format is how good the animation and the music and the visuals and all that kind of stuff are in this series. When you watch it on the big screen, you see it as more of a movie. So you compare it to movie budget anime, and it's kind of in line with all of that. But then when you watch it as a TV series, of course, it's exactly the same, but you kind of have to lower your expectations in terms of what to expect. Because TV budget as opposed to film budget, you know, there's usually a bit more of a stricter deadline, so all things play into that. But you see this, and it is like truly top quality. I don't want to say it goes above every single anime series that's out there, but it's definitely up there. Like, it is top quality animation, and it's not just the animation. Like, the music feels cinematic, the overall vibe of it feels cinematic as well. And I think it just goes to show that they put so much time and effort into this. I think they've been making this series since like 2018 is when they first started kind of pitching it and stuff. So they've been working through this series for a while. This is not like a, started after Witch from Mercury and it's taken them like 1.5 years to get through it. No, this has been in development for ages. It might have even been in development before Witch from Mercury. And it absolutely shows when you look at it. This is a top quality looking show that has a vision of what it wants to be. You listen to the music, feels so like sci-fi and captures a vibe of space. Like, it really feels like a great sci-fi series, and it's also a great mecha series as well, at least from what we're seeing. Watching this as its own episode rather than following up on 1 Year War stuff really made me appreciate Amate as a character a lot more, because she felt like a lead character. And what I mean by that is, like, you had all the 1 Year War stuff, and Char's, of course, like the big part of that. So it's kind of hard to come off of Char being your lead to then this new character that you barely know anything about. When you start out that way, it just generally works a lot better. As much as I really enjoyed seeing Amate and seeing her introduced in beginning, I liked seeing her introduced more here. And again, it's exactly the same episode, it's exactly the same content, but it's just the way that we start out with that as opposed to the 1 Year War, where I think it just generally works better. So across the board, making this the first episode as opposed to the 1 Year War was a fantastic decision, and it not only improves the flow of the series, but it helps to make it stand apart from, its counterparts being the original Gundam series. And the more I see of the GQuuuuuX in action, the more I come to appreciate all the little details. I've always thought it's a great looking suit. Right from when it was first revealed, I wasn't one of those people that were like, oh, that's ugly. I thought it looked pretty good, and I thought it was a unique suit for Gundam to be kind of the main lead mobile suit within a series. But when you kind of just see all the little intricate details about how it plays out, there's almost like the design philosophy behind it seems like a case of things have to work and things have to have kind of real world uses. So you're not just like throwing things in there for design's sake. Like, if you think about a V-fin, is there really, much like actual use for it? No, it looks cool, don't get me wrong, but there's not really like any, like in-world use that kind of helps the mobile suit operate or anything like that. You look at the way they do it in GQuuuuuX, and essentially the V-fin thing is the thing that unlocks when the Omega Psycho system unlocks. And, when you first see that suit, before we had the context of how things worked and that, you see like all these like weird little like screw dot things in the V-fin. But then you see it in the show, and it's like, that's unlocking from the Omega Psycho system. And again, it's like minor details, like minor mechanical details, where they definitely put effort into the designs and thinking about, okay, if we're going to include these things, what is the use for them? What is the purpose in terms of actually designing a giant robot? And I love when they do that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not like a huge diehard like real robot kind of person, but it's always cool when things have a purpose. And it really just, shows that attention to detail and the fact that they thought about, okay, how can we make this feel realistic, like something that's tangible? And I think doing minor things like that, like putting screws into the V-fin because it does unlock from the head, that's just a cool detail. Another thing that's really helped by this being the premiere episode as opposed to 1 Year War stuff is that you really feel the world building, and it can stand apart from early 1 Year War UC stuff because it establishes the Azuma colony and the vibe of that so well. And again, that comes down to the music. I think the music plays a big role in that, but it does come down to those visuals as well, and the general stylistic look, where it does feel a little bit cyberpunky in a way, where they've kind of got like a rain inspired, like slightly darker neon look to everything that's going on within the colony. It just looks really cool and really quite futuristic, especially when you've got the shot of the colony turning and you've got the voiceover from Amate. That is truly fantastic, and you've got great music in there as well. There's so much that goes into just establishing the world, and it's not just the like, okay, this is where we are, this is how things operate, all that kind of stuff. It is the look of it. It is the sound of it as well. And this series is doing a fantastic job so far, even just in this one episode, like not even counting everything else that I've already seen from it. It does a great job in this episode at just simply setting it up and making you want to see it more. And for a premiere episode, it is surprisingly quite action-packed. I mean, the whole like back half really of this episode is action. And of course, the action looks fantastic, and that's obviously aided by the animation, the great mobile suit designs that can stand apart from one another. Ultimately, though, it does come down to the animation, which has a really nice blend of CG and 2D, and it's almost seamless the way they blended it together. Fantastic looking show, fantastic sounding show. Everything about this, like especially on a technical level, and from what I'm seeing so far from a story level, is not downright perfect, but it is damn good, and I think is a worthy addition to the Gundam saga, if you will. The last minor thing I want to touch on though is just a really cool detail where they've brought back the episode previews, which were missing from Mercury. I think they're around for Iron Blooded Dolphins and like everything before that. I love when you get episode previews because you can get excited for that next episode. Because even if there's not this major cliffhanger at the end of whatever episode you're watching, you've got that preview of showing like, okay, here are quick glimpses of what you're going to see next episode. And it gets you excited in a way that just simply giving the title of an episode just won't do, and that's kind of what Witch from Mercury did. Granted, I think like every episode generally got me excited to watch the next because I love that show personally, but I think this is a far better way of doing it where, you know, you're not straight up giving away everything that's going to go down. You're seeing little glimpses of things where it gets you excited and keeps your attention to be like, I'm going to watch this next week. But also, as Gundam fans who are used to those episode previews, it kind of brings something nice back that in a way feels a little bit nostalgic. But there we have it though, that was my breakdown of the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuuX titled The Red Gundam. Before I get out there, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are a fan of mecha anime content. I want to see plenty more videos like this in the future, and like I said, I'm going to be talking about this on a weekly basis, doing these breakdown videos, so if you do want to stay tuned for those, make sure you are subscribed and then you'll know when they go up. And also, like I said earlier, head on down to the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode if you've seen it, and how excited are you to see the 1-year war play out in episode 2. Thank you once again for tuning into Mecha Chat today, and I'll see you guys next time.